Hey guys, Exiled Bruins, wondering how you guys are doing this Wednesday evening. Well, it's Wednesday for me, maybe not for you. Today we're gonna be doing something a bit different. I've been a League of Legends player for a long time, and in my opinion, there's a lot of misinformation, lack of explaining stuff like that as far as League of Legends goes, and I'm very much a mathematic and statistical person when it comes to this. So I figured, what better way to bring you guys, I guess, this knowledge than to actually go and review some of the higher level challenger player games and go over why they're challenger and everything like that. So today we're going to be looking at Cat Evolved, who I believe is recently within the top 10 challenger as far as NA goes. He's sitting at 1,602 LP. That is rank 4 challenger, and he has almost 1.5 million mastery points on Katarina. This guy pretty much writes the book on like what is meta with Katarina and everything like that. Haven't looked at his match history yet, first time seeing it here. And it looks like lately AP Katarina seems to be the way to go. But I also know that recently with Sunfire getting changed to scale with more HP, he wanted to try out some games with that. So we'll end up looking at a few of these games here, and we'll see what makes Cat Evolved challenging. So as we're getting into game here, we will see Katarina spawn on the top side of the map here. Looks like the matchup mid lane is not going to be Ezreal, most likely. Probably going to be Akshan here, which notoriously for a lot of people is quite a struggle, especially as a melee champion. And he ends up dominating in this game. He ends up solo carrying it. And so I want to look at what did he do differently to solo carry this game. Right? What did he do that stands out and can maybe help you guys carry some of your games into notoriously quite an oppressive matchup. So I have not seen any of this. I did not look at any of this beforehand. It's all kind of my live off the wall reaction. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Kha'Zix versus Nidalee. Nidalee will generally outclear Kha'Zix. And these are things that you should kind of keep in mind, right? When you're playing mid lane, like, you look at the matchups. Like, if I pause the game here, we have Cassiopeia bot lane with Electrocute. Not what I would take on Cassiopeia, but it's fine overall, right? Renata with heal. That's gonna be much weaker than Ezreal and Bard. Bard has quite a bit of base damage on his abilities. They also took Ignite into heal, which gives them an advantage here. And Ezreal um, is going to do better than Cassiopeia late or early game because Cassiopeia outscales him. As far as the jungle matchup, Nidalee outclears Kha'Zix by quite a bit. She's one of the fastest junglers in the game, and it's not that Kha'Zix can't clear well, it's just on multi-target camps like Raptors, Kha'Zix doesn't want to be doing Raptors. He would rather skip Raptors and go and do something like gank this top lane. Now, why do you want to gank this top lane? Ornn started no flash. He has teleport and exhaust, and Riven has ignite. Although Ornn has exhaust, in my opinion anyways, it's pretty likely that Riven just kills Ornn through exhaust. Like he'll get the exhaust off and either Ornn will recall, teleport back, have absolutely no summoners, and that'll probably happen relatively early in the game. How early, you might ask? About level 3 timing. Well, we'll see what happens here. But if I was this Kha'Zix, I would be looking to do blue, Grump, red, and then gank top, which works in tandem with Adrian Riven. He talks about this quite often. Is you can do a 3 or 4 wave crash, and invade the enemy jungle here as the top lane. And you can do the same thing in mid lane, but you have to do 2 waves because waves don't take as much time to get to mid lane. You see this wave's already up here, whereas top lane the wave is already in between the towers. So as the mid laner, I expect a lot of pressure because Kha'Zix is starting bot side. He will end up top. Whether he ganks top, that's a different question. But top is also very volatile, likely to end up on Riven's side as far as the lane goes. Like, Riven will likely end up winning this matchup, at least in the early game. So, as Katarina here, I would expect him to also try to put pressure towards top side if he wants to play around his team. Akshan going for an early cheese here. Like I said, it's a pretty oppressive matchup, especially with the fact that he has bone plating. Even if Kat has level 2 there, she can't really trade into that, even just with Akshan's level 1. Bone plating, if you don't know, it reduces damage by 30 per hit. It only procs on the hits after it is it's proc. So when Katarina Qs him, the 3 bone plating will pop up, and that is all that didn't get reduced, the initial Q. But if she E's onto him, the E gets reduced, the dagger passive gets reduced, everything like that. So he gets pushed into tower, expectedly. So he wouldn't be able to do that 2-wave crash that I was talking about. It's very oppressive early in this matchup. Akshan's passive, it's a 3-hit passive, does extra damage, will give him, sorry about my phone, extra move speed, everything like that. Looks like Kha'Zix, though, is waiting to gank him, which Akshan being pushed in here is good. Akshan should just E out this way. Katarina jumps to stop it, which is good here. And they should just very easily get this kill. Yep, should be a double kill. Italy overcommits there, and I don't think that's worth it. So if we want to go back to what happened here, Kha'Zix comes this way for a gank after full clearing his bot side, and we'll see what Nidalee did here. If she was ready for it, or if she just happened to be nearby. So, Nidalee, how much CS does she have? So, yeah, I don't know why her CS is showing up weird here. Oh, she started topside. Okay. So she did blue grump into red buff. If you notice, they both did 3 camps, and they were both prepping for a gank. Like I said, she was probably prepping for a counter gank. She was probably expecting this from Kha'Zix. If you look, her bot lane's pushed in. Like I said, they generally win this matchup. And she didn't clear the top side, although I did see Riven and Orange trade pretty heavily here earlier. So she was probably prepping the counter gank and was just a little bit slow on the ball. Now, as Katarina waiting for this gank here, if she stops Akshan's E, he either A has to flash out or is dead. They have more than enough damage to deal with Akshan. And Akshan's not going to be able to just one-shot Cat. The important part here was that earlier, before this gank, that Katarina didn't lose health. Alright, the less health that she has here, the easier it'll be for Akshan to ignite and trade this and make it at least 1-for-1. So she just kept her health high and was waiting for her jungler to gank her while the wave was pushed in. She got what CS she could, but it didn't really... Like, in the end, it won't really matter. It should probably end up evening out here after this gank. The Doran Shield helps a lot with that. It's way more useful than you'd think, and starting Longsword 3 pots here, or anything of the sort into a poke matchup like this, she'd probably have far less HP. She does now. Anyways, to get into the gank, she should never use her E until Akshan goes to E out. The only way he has to E out, he can't E this way. Right? This angle doesn't work for him. Kha'Zix is right here. It'll stop Akshan E. So the only way he can go is this way, which is exactly what he tries to do. Tries to go that way. Katarina uses her E, stops it, Ignites just to guarantee that if he flashes out, they have the kill. He flashed out, Ignite kills. Italy goes in under tower to get the Kazakhs, and it's fine. In an easy double. So he doesn't really care too much about getting all the CS. You want to get what CS you can, but you just want to get the wave into tower. And if you look, just like I said, the CS evened out. She never missed XP. Now Akshan's behind in EXP. She got EXP off the kills as well. He does miss the cannon there, I believe. And again, Riven's fine top here. It's almost the same situation, but in reverse, right? Where Akshan was up in CS and Cat was struggling. Now Ornn is struggling and Riven's up in C. Now, we know, so, like, what would you do, an example from Riven's perspective? I want to look at the game as a whole, alright? That was a very good gank, but I want to look in the game at the game as a whole. So, we know that Nidalee, right, just off that gank, because we saw her mid with both buffs, 12 CS, level 3. So that means that she did blue, likely did Grump, because otherwise your clear becomes a little inefficient. So she did blue, probably Grump, or she did red and then Raptors. But either way, she did blue, red, and then Raptors or Grump. If she did Grump here, then we can assume after she died that she would run bot side, because that's where most of her camps are. But she ran top side here. Why can we assume that she's going top side? Because her bot lane's pushed in here. Ornn has plenty of CC to set up for a spear. Ornn has exhaust, and they can kind of run Riven down the lane. It's actually a very good gank opportunity, and the gank here, if successful, right, Riven's worth 300 gold plus X amount of HP. Each jungle camp at this point in the game is worth, let's say, 100 gold here, another 100 gold there, and another 100 gold there. But the difference is that it gets more gold on your side, right? Ornn will get to farm this wave completely free, whereas otherwise he wouldn't have. And it gives them the opportunity to push the wave back and get a reset. Or freeze here and deny Riven even more by utilizing Ornn's TP. Ornn should not freeze here unless he's going to recall and TP back, most likely after this gank, because he'll probably end up missing a lot of HP. So we'll see what happens here on the gank. If I was Riven, I'd be expecting a gank here, and I'd walk down the ward, which almost gets speared. Kind of just puts the gank out of business, and so Nidalee is very far behind here. She took the riskier play that had the potential to end up giving more gold to her team, but overall I do not think it was correct to path that way. Very good trade here, by the way. We'll go look at this for a second. Uses his Q and jumps in on the dagger. W's away, gets the damage, and doesn't care about the E reset. You can just use your E, avoid damage here. Kazakhs coming in for another gank because they know that Akshan has no summons. This is the ganking lane. This is the lane that he wants to gank all the time. The whole time. Nidalee here for a counter gank after doing her Raptors. They do trade, kill the Kazakhs, and this should be a double for Katarina? No, he does die here. Oh, barely lives due to him taking a potion in the middle of the fight. Just a regular health potion, make sure that he lives there. Gets him an extra 20 HP. I'll even go back to kind of show this. If he had refillable, he probably would have died there. Because he probably would have been missing about 20 more HP, and he went down to 19 at one point. It's very close on if he would or wouldn't have lived there. But refillable heals 20 less HP than a regular potion. He stopped his recall before before Akshan even did that to make sure that he didn't get hit by the Q, because Akshan wants to do that to push in the wave. He knows that Katarina has to recall no matter what. He double checks to see that she recalled and that he's not going to get frozen on under tower. Because if he pushes here and Katarina, for whatever reason's here, she could potentially freeze on him if he went to go back up. Just make sure that it gets into tower and then recalls. Because the last thing he wants is to get frozen on by Kat if she's greedy and stayed. It's not necessarily that she should stay there and freeze, it's more just the possibility. If he's lazy about it, she could be greedy, and greedy might pay off. So if we're looking at this top matchup, not much has happened here. Katarina's looking for a roam right now. She pushed the wave in, just straight from her tower. Goes for a gank with her jungler. Looks like they're setting up to dive bot. And she didn't really have much to do anyways. If this works out great, Katarina gets a kill, jungler gets a kill. Very good dive. Not much to say about it really. They pushed in wave bot. They're finally able to get a little bit of pressure now that Cassio has some gold and a little bit of mana off her tier. Katarina, again, didn't have anything to do. What's she gonna do? Stand mid. She can't really gank top, you don't really dive top. So she just walks down here. If there's not an opportunity, she doesn't take the opportunity, she walks back to lane. And yeah, I mean, of course she misses a single wave off of Akshan pushing very hard there. But if she had stayed, Akshan pushed very hard there and she gets a freeze or he doesn't push hard. But it's better to do something proactive with your time. She's playing a lot around Kha'Zix here. Like, the thing is, right, I can say that I expected pressure around topside, and that's definitely true. That's something you could do. There's a lot of ways you can play the game. But, what was I gonna say? Okay. There's a lot of ways that you could play the game, in the sense that, we know Riven's gonna do fine top, right? We know that this is gonna constantly be a dominant matchup. There's not gonna be much that Riven, or that Ornn can do against Riven for quite a long time. It's not that he is useless, it's just he has to play passively. He will just die to her. And on the bright side, for this Akshan and Nidalee and everything like that, they did just see Bard portal out here, so that is going to roam. Okay. Yeah, so he saw that, he is going to roam. They're quite out of position right here, because they're kind of looking for the Cassio kill, they weren't looking for the Katarina, and they just died a cat. Very well-timed roam. Unfortunate on the ignite and Q there. You might give a shutdown. Nope. Did not die, luckily. Kha'Zix, after seeing Nidalee bot and Nidalee die, immediately started top. And then goes mid to cover the wave. Or no, Cassio is the one that pinged mid to go cover the wave. Which is the correct play, because Katarina has to recall, she'll be late. So someone should catch this XP and gold, if anybody on their team. Alright, this wave is gonna get pushed out anyways. You should never be mad at your teammates for taking this here, because nobody was gonna get it unless they did. Very good catch on the Akshan, being out of position up here. I don't even think Dragon is up, from what I can tell. Focuses on finishing the kill on Akshan before going back into the fight. Couple things I want to talk about here on itemizing. So, Katarina is 8-0. She's behind on CS. She's given up some of that CS to make some proactive plays. Like I said, there was options that you could do where you would get more CS or more potential in other lanes, right? So she made the option that she goes to other lanes and gets kills. And the problem is that if you go to other lanes and you don't get kills, then you end up behind on CS and it can end up not that great for you. So you have to be pretty confident that there is an opportunity for you to take advantage of. That being said, itemizing. I remember earlier in the game, Katarina starting pen boots. Why would you start pen boots so early when you could get something like a blasting wand? It's because, for one, she started Dark Seal, and so she has plenty of AP from that. And two, the 18 magic pen, pretty early on in the game, even at this point, you want to look at, well, Bard went Merc Treads here, but if we want to look at Ezreal, for example, 18 magic pen, that takes his magic resist down to 17, I believe, or my math's bad, something like that, which would put his magic resist at probably about 18% or so. I'm not quite sure on the math on it exactly. A little weird. But probably about 18%, which results in Cat doing effectively 8% more damage to Ezreal, which is fine. But it also gives her more move speed, right? And she's constantly going for this roam playstyle and wanting to give up a little bit of CS here and there in order to make these roams, so the move speed is also just very important. And if you wanted to compare that to something like a blasting wand will give her... sorry, doing math in my head. But yeah, a blasting wand gives her an extra 40%. Not even 40 damage. Whereas like an extra 5% on the base damage is it's pretty comparable to what a blasting wand would have given her. Of course, this is even later in the game that I'm looking. Another thing is too is these champions here, Bard, Ezreal, Akshan, Nidalee, are all champions that are gonna want to kite her. What she does here is something that you guys should probably work on too, if you don't know of it. So, she eased to wave. We know that Ezreal's somewhere within here. She would have saw him here. So she just eased to wave. Which is fine. She can W right away, which she should, yep, W right now. Ezreal does not want to be here. So he's going to E away. Guaranteed. He's going to E away. So he gets the reset. He E's this way. Then flashes out. Her E is reset now. And then now she can Q and gap close on him. He has absolutely nothing to get away, and she guarantees that he dies here. So that's one thing that you can do on Katarina, but the emphasis I want to put here is that he knew he could use his W to reset his E. Right? If you are Kha'Zix, you only have the one jump. Just walk up to Ezreal. You walk up to Ezreal, he doesn't want to be there. And so he E's effectively on you, which is what he would have done if Kha'Zix was there anyways, if Kha'Zix was the one ganking him. And then flashes out, and then you jump on him when he has no flash, and you get the kill. You use your E to jump in the bush, he flashes out, and E's and all that, and then you have no kill, and you're sad. So just don't use your gap closers, stuff like that, if you don't have to. Very good practice. Ornn got a little bit bored and tried to kill Riven, it looks like. Oh no, Riven tried to kill Ornn. So he's just defending himself here. He has little to no mana, very good flash by Riven. And yeah, that's really all that was. I think Riven very well could have died there if she didn't flash that from Ornn. She does likely have Triumph. Good spear by Nidalee though, and Riven unfortunately dies. She hasn't really warded at all this game, you can even see that on her vision trinket. She hasn't really been paying attention for these ganks, but she hasn't gotten punished until that exact moment. Again, sorry if I'm misspeaking or anything like that. I'm a little dyslexic at times. And that's not really a joke, I just struggle to talk. I'm trying to cover as much as I can because I can look and I can watch what Katarina does all the time. But there's League is a team game. There's five players on each team, and it matters what her teammates are doing when it comes down to her carrying. Sure, you can do the same thing every single game, but there's going to be some games where it doesn't work, and you got to understand why it doesn't work. Why didn't that work? Well, because my team wasn't doing something where it made my play, roaming bot constantly, work. I'm not saying that it's your team's fault, because it most definitely is not. But these plays work out because she's working with her team in a lot of cases. If your team isn't working around this, find a different way to do this. Find a different way to snowball the game. If they were going top constantly, Katarina probably doesn't go bot. There was one gank where she blast coned over with the Kha'Zix here and went bot. That could have very easily just been for a dive top. If you don't agree with that, don't go. Don't go dive top with them if you don't agree with the play. Right? Just follow your intuition in that sense. But it's important that she's working with her team. Now, could Ezreal have expected this, by the way, and avoided this death? We'll see. So there's no vision on this part of the map here. Alright. But, like, they have actually pretty good pink wards here. You can assume that their jungler's dead, apparently. Alright, so their jungler's dead. But we know that there's no Riven, no Katarina, or anything like that. Katarina's regularly bot lane. Sees Renata here. Renata doesn't come here unless there's someone else here. You should expect somebody else, and I would have immediately started running towards the Renata. Because tower will not be safety for you. Not with the Cassiopeia here. Then, just to make sure that they don't get any return gold here, Cassio will use her teleport to deny Akshan getting plates, which is pretty good. Otherwise, Akshan potentially could have gotten an extra plate, tower, whatever, and they just really want to deny as much gold from the enemy team. Understand that if a play isn't making you gold, denying the enemy gold is almost the same as making you gold, right? If you want to look at this game, they're roughly 3,000 gold ahead. If you deny them 200 gold, then you guys are effectively 200 gold more ahead. Good too when you have mid pressure like this. They've gotten the Rift Herald thus far. It's only 12 minutes into the game. They've gotten Rift Herald, they've gotten both dragons, and everything like that. Mid means a lot for what your jungler can do. Cassio with a good ult to save Katarina's life there. And her also surviving through the Renata E and getting the reset off Nidalee here. I won't... I will say, and I wouldn't think that this is personal opinion, Katarina can kind of jump on and kill whoever she wants when she's this far ahead at this point in the game. There's not really much to it. Her team was there, her team was with her, and so she jumps on them and kills them because she's 3 levels up on the Bard, and she'll just get a reset off Bard and snowball the whole team fight. She's incredibly fed, she can just kill you. Just following the vision here to try to catch out the Bard. They saw him on a ward there. Doesn't want to go through the portal because she'll get stunned right out of the portal, and she's not sure who is here. Kha'Zix knows that the Nidalee's up here, waiting for a counter gank. Ornn's finally getting some pressure to be able to push in because Riven doesn't dominate him as hardly, but she did the right thing by going Cleaver. Riven likes ability haste, but also Ornn is going to build resistance. Good knock up into the spear. And almost kills Nidalee, but Katarina roams back up here. And again, she doesn't really care what she's giving up mid. She started off being 25 CS down. That has now grown to about 45 CS down. She's lost plenty of tower plates, but they Rift Heralded, got mid tower at one point. And, I mean, yeah. Doesn't care about CS at this point, wanting to stack her Medjais. I mean, she'll pick up a wave here or there when she can. Cassiopeia is actually doing a lot of picking up the CS for Katarina and being a late game advantage. Although Cassio's CS isn't incredible, it's still beneficial. Still going to somebody in a lot of cases. I think that was a good look for a pick there. Katarina has no E here because she didn't get her W to reset. She was just trying to capitalize as soon as possible. A lot of times when you're this fed, if you just run at people, they will run away because they don't want to die, even if you can't get on them. So it's a good way to disengage and kill from the Ignite and Renata passive there. Sorry about holding down tab, kind of covering the screen. It's a habit of mine while watching replays. She almost dies there due to really a lack of blocking. They should have traded it between multiple champions there, I feel. This tower's dead pretty much no matter what. Katarina's probably short on gold for an item, and thanks for wanting to stay here. A little bit greedy though, I would not agree with staying there. Dies to the Nidalee execute due to her health ticking down. I think it's very greedy. Yeah, if you look, she bought a blasting wand, which is probably the lead into Proto Boat. That she was probably just a bit of gold off, probably about 100 gold off or so. But yeah, gave a shutdown for that, which I do not agree with. I think that was a slight misplay. Overall, enemy team is quite ahead, but as you saw, I mean, they shut down. She did get Protobot, so she had enough gold after dying and waiting a minute, everything like that. This is not, by the way, this is not game 1 set and match. As you saw, they did shut down Katarina in a 2v2 there. I mean, yeah, it was with the support, but if Katarina makes greedy plays, it's still very possible for them to, for the enemy team to win. However, their team is in a very dominating position, finishes off the tower before jumping on Ornn. Ornn is all armor here with very little magic resist, can easily dive him. And I would leave here. I have no idea where the other 3 people are in the enemy team. Very easy for her to die if she continues to stay here and push up. Dragon is up though. We know that their jungler is dead. Their top laner is also dead. There's a TP happening. And it's just an easy 3rd dragon. Now, 3rd dragon is very important. A lot of people mention this, but don't exactly mention why. They just say, hey, a 3rd drag is important. But why is 3rd drag important? 3rd dragon is important because it's... So, when you have 2 dragons, 3rd dragon is the one that you can give up, right? In a sense. They don't get soul off this. But, now, every dragon from here on out, they almost have to contest. All the elders, the soul, everything like that, you really don't want your enemy to get. And that's what makes 3rd dragon important, because it leads into their 4th dragon, which is the most important. And I know that sounds kind of dumb. But for example, if they sat at 2 dragons the whole game, and Like, let's say the enemy team got the third dragon here. You don't care about them having 2 drags. You can give up the next drag. It's the idea that you have no more leeway. That goes away. All of the ability to give them a drag and feel somewhat comfortable is gone now. Right, their time to push a lead is dwindling. Now, it looks like the enemy team just surrendered after Katarina continuously starts to kill their carries. And yeah, we will... I guess I'll overcap this a little bit. So Katarina gave up a good amount of CS here in order to roam bot side, and with her jungler. Enemy bot lane is a lot stronger, pushed in a majority of the early game, so Katarina saw opportunities to end up going bot. Her top lane is a winning matchup. She likely doesn't have to touch it. And as you see, Riven ended the game almost 100 CS up. Actually, well, yeah, almost 100. 95 CS up. So Riven won that lane without being touched, right? And since the enemy bot lane is really strong and going to be pushed up, she roamed bot. She gave up CS, roamed bot, and it paid off very, very well for her. So, yeah, onward to the next game. Hey guys, Exiled here. So, I'm editing the video currently, and it's gonna go a bit long. I want to keep it to about 35 minutes. I do want to review a game that he lost, because our losses and how we handle them are also part of what can make us a good player. And so, I want to overview that, but I don't want you guys to have an hour video. So, the part 2 will be linked in the description below once it releases, and don't forget to like and subscribe. But see